you're probably all excited thinking I'm gonna rip the shit out of TrueUnderDawg. Let me start by calming your excitement down. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna behave myself and be respectful. I will diss Mortal Kombat 12 all day and I'll rip NetherRealm Studios every day. But my honest opinion of TrueUnderDawg, from what I've seen of him, and based on my own opinion on him, not influenced by anyone, I don't think he's a NetherRealm Studios shill. I just think that he likes the Mortal Kombat that I hate, which does bother me, but who am I to tell him what to like and what not to like? I'm willing to hold my ego aside for a bit and engage with this discussion professionally. Okay, professional mode on. So his video starts off by saying that Mortal Kombat 1 haters are dumb. Obviously I'm included in that, so I'm gonna watch his video and see his reasoning now. Because I'm a hater of this garbage they call Mortal Kombat 1. I call it Mortal Kombat 12 because we already have a Mortal Kombat 1. It was made in 1992. I don't think anyone on this website hates this game more than I do. But he does throw in that he's not talking about people who have valid criticism. As a longtime fan of Mortal Kombat from the 2D era through the 3D era, I believe I have valid criticism of the modern Mortal Kombat game. So I'm hoping to make a constructive criticism here. TrueUnderDawg starts off with a list of what he thinks are dumb reasons for hating the game. I'm going to quickly address this list one by one. Number 1, the combos are too long. I don't have a problem with combos. I actually think it takes skill to perform crazy combos, and it's fun to try and practice them and get an opportunity to execute them. Whenever I play with Krypt Gamer, a shout out to Krypt Gamer, there'll be more collab videos with him soon. Whenever I play with Krypt Gamer and I have a chance to throw him about with a long combo, it feels good to do. If someone does a mega long ass combo on me, I start laughing thinking, wow, this guy really learned his character well. Other day I saw Sikander do a 39 hit combo or a 48 hit combo with Sub-Zero, and I was thinking, what the hell? I didn't even know that was possible. So we can cross this one off. I'll elaborate more on the possible problems with combos in MK12 in a bit. Number 2. Cameos hurt my brain. Underdawg says it's dumb to hate cameos. Now, I don't like the idea of cameos because they feel like a cheap inclusion of a classic character to me. I prefer the game to be a tag team of 2 fully fleshed out characters, but learning to use a cameo isn't complicated, and I know this is a gimmick of MK12. There's nothing I can do about it except try to use them however I can. So cross this one off the list. I don't like them, but that's okay. I don't have to like them. It doesn't mean my opinion is dumb just because I don't like the concept of cameos. I have my reasons. Number 3. I dislike the story, so the whole game is bad. On this website, I'm the biggest hater of the story. No one stands next to me in hating the story. If the story was in the form of a person, I would love to run it over with my car, and just before it dies, I want to step out and beat the shit out of it to increase the pain. I want to punch and smash the shit out of its head until its head becomes a soft, bloody mush on the end of my fists. I'm getting carried away with my fantasies here, but this is how much I hate the story of Dominic Cianciolo. On the other hand, I have mentioned a number of times that if I ignore the story and only focus on the gameplay, I do find MK12 fun to play with friends. Like I said, it's fun to practice the combos, so we can cross this off the list too. Underdawg says that nobody buys a fighting game for the story. They buy it for the fighting gameplay. I have a contention with that, which I'll address shortly. Number 4. Not enough content. In the old MK games, I do like the content of the game. I like how you can go into Krypt in Deadly Alliance, for example, unlock a picture of a stage, and then read the background story or lore of the stage written by the MK team. It was good, and it added to the overall experience to learn more about Mortal Kombat lore through the content. And who can forget the conquest mode in Deception, MK Deception, absolutely beautiful. Even the conquest mode in Deadly Alliance is good because between each lesson you get to read more about the lore of each character. It's fun and exciting to get into. With MK12, however, I don't give a damn about the content in it. Just go in there and have a look at this shit. NPC Garden Party. Who cares about this? What do I care about this Iranian Persian-looking prince dressed as if he's ready for a wedding? And the lady next to him doing her kitchen work. Look at this shit on page 2. Why is there some random ancient Indian Maharaja from the Mughal Empire dressed in traditional Pakistani wedding clothes? And you got an ancient Indian Maharani right next to him? I don't know what these are. Arabs? Turks? Kurds? Abyssinians? Apparently these are Outworld people, but they seem to be based on various cultures around Earth. So do the people at Netherrealm consider all the cultures around the world as outsiders, as Outworlders? What was their thought process behind it? Oh, Outworld is supposed to be a strange place. I know. Let's represent all the strange cultures in the world that we don't understand. Idiots. How dumb can you be? Where's the Mortal Kombat here? Look at this Prithviraj Chauhan. This man is dressed for a wedding in Birmingham. This kind of bullshit content I don't give a damn for. Look at this NPC art from Kataravala. They're artworks of ordinary people that you find at your local supermarket or your local library. Who gives a shit about this lame content? Why even bother? The content found in NRS games is a big step back from the content found in MK Deadly Alliance and Deception. So this point about not enough content, I disagree with. It's not that there's not enough content, it's that the content is dog shit. The content made in Deadly Alliance and Deception felt like it was made by people who love what they're doing and they're passionate about being part of the MK team. The content in MK12 looks like it was made by any random fashion designer who has nothing to do with Mortal Kombat. Just some people hired, and they probably got told to go find some inspiration somewhere, and they went and looked at strange cultures around the world for Outworld, without even understanding the world of Mortal Kombat, without even having an imagination for alien worlds. They probably went to research Asian and Arab cultures, something that's not Western, because if it's not Western, it's a strange and otherworldly culture, of course. Obviously, it's going to fit perfectly into Outworld, isn't it? Content is actually an important part of how Mortal Kombat expands on its lore and gives more to us. It's just that the content in MK12 is shit. And if you think this is good, you're the problem. Look at this Sun-Do Lantern Festival. They actually managed to make Motaro look gay. If Motaro from MK3 were real, not even the manliest man that ever lived on this planet could outman Motaro. He's the top of the food chain. But look at what they managed to turn him into. A pansy horse wearing a pansy costume. Because this is Liu Kang's new pansy world. Look at this Outworld force that Shao Kahn sent to hunt down the Earthrealm warriors in MK3. They look tremendous. They look scary. Look at the one in the middle with the long hair. I would not want to mess with him. I wouldn't want to mess with any of them. Games like this are designed by guys who just know how to make an epic story that captivates the minds of young men who just want to kick some ass. Now look in MK12, we have a Shokan here, but she's been reduced to an Indian Bhangra drummer. Look at this picture. You can just hear the dum dum mananga nanga dum dum mananga nanga dum 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 mananga dum dum dum. Instead of making a fantasy culture out of Shokans, they've turned her into an Indian drummer who gets invited to Pakistani weddings. The hell is this fashion show? This is actually the first time I'm seeing this because I never cared to look at the content before. The game's overall spirit and atmosphere is crap. So the content is crap. I showed you one picture of the Centaur force of Motaro and his group. Don't tell me that that single picture on its own didn't grab your attention and pique your interest in a battle. Who are these centaurs? How the hell are the Earthrealmers gonna fight these? These are the sorts of questions that come to mind when you look at this picture. Monsters! But with MK12, you can tell this game was made by people who know nothing about Mortal Kombat and have nothing to do with Mortal Kombat history. Mortal Kombat to these people is like taking Mortal Kombat action figures and playing tea parties with them. Playing dolly dress up with them. Shame on Ed Boon for letting this happen to Mortal Kombat. Shame on him. Number 5. I prefer MK11, therefore MK1 is bad. You can count me out of that one. I hate MKX11 and this one. And there's plenty of reasons why. Number 6. The game is too hard. I don't know if this one is true because this game is actually easy. You're weak if you think this game is hard. The 2D era of Mortal Kombat is hard. That Shang Tsung challenge in the Netherrealm is hard. This game is piss easy. If you think this game is hard even on the hardest difficulty, I don't know what to say. You're an embarrassment. You need to practice more. That is if you... To be honest, I don't think anyone has actually said this because this one is outrageous. So I've counted myself out of all the points that he's given here. And I've made a clear case on the point about content. So let's see what further TrueUnderDawg has to say. So he speaks about the people who keep asking for cameos to be removed are dumb. As much as I don't really like the cameos for my own reason, I don't think it's feasible for NetherRealm Studios to just remove them outright. It would take a lot of work to rebalance everything. That's just a whole project on its own, as if making a brand new game. In my opinion, it would be better to replace the cameos with tag team characters, where you choose 2 of the main roster characters and combine their full sets of skills for some epic gameplay. I don't know how hard that would be to do. It doesn't sound hard to do, but I don't know what it's actually like to make it happen from a developer point of view. They shouldn't have made this dumb cameo idea in the first place. This is something that the Mortal Kombat higher-ups should have immediately said no to when someone presented it as an idea. Oh, so make Mortal Kombat a game, but half of the roster are just assist characters instead of being full characters. That sounds dumb. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Make all the characters full characters and have them tag team. That's all. It just needed 2 seconds of thought and a quick rejection. Unless they didn't have enough time and actually made an effort to include all the characters and settled with some of them being cameos. I've been watching Dwayne from Headlocked Gaming, a great channel. I enjoy watching his Mortal Kombat Mugen live streams every night. When you listen to him, he brings your hopes up with logical and practical reasoning. He says that he thinks Mortal Kombat 12 is just a one-off transitional game to move on to a future Mortal Kombat trilogy. Dwayne mentioned that Mortal Kombat releases in sets of 3 and a transitional game in between. So we had the Mortal Kombat 1, 2 and 3 as the original 2D games, and then MK4 was a one-off transitional game to transition the 2D into 3D. Then we had our 3D era set of 3, Deadly Alliance, Deception and Armageddon. And what happened after that? There was a one-off transitional game called MK vs DC Universe. And we've transitioned into the NRS era, which is MK9, X and 11. So following the logical trail set previously, and seeing the experiment that MK12 seems to be, my own theory formed thanks to Dwayne's enlightening thoughts, is that we may be transitioning into an era of tag team Mortal Kombat games. There is hope that the next Mortal Kombat game will actually be a more polished Mortal Kombat game. It might not be exactly the way we like it, but it will be better than Mortal Kombat 12. You have to see Dwayne at Headlocked Gaming. He's really full of knowledge, and he's one of those who met the team at Midway, face to face. I can't help but behave myself and be humble on his channel. Now back to Underdog. There's something that Underdog says here that I find wrong. He says that it's crazy that some of these players say that MK9 was better because it had a full tag team mode. And then he says, the same people who can't handle cameo attacks are complaining that the game doesn't have 2v2. Then he follows it up with some sassy diva behavior by going, "Listen here, child." See, the thing is, who are you calling a child? What do you mean by listen here, child? First of all, look behind you before you call someone a child. You've got more dolls in your room than my daughter has, and you're calling people as child. I showed my daughter this guy and her reaction made me laugh. I asked her, what do you think of him? He's got all these dolls in the background. And she said, I think he's girlish. I have the video uploaded for members only. If you ever get to see that, then a 5-year-old thinks this guy is girly because of all the dolls in his room. I wouldn't say he's girlish. I think setting up your bedroom like that and appearing on the internet, you look like a man-child. And he's going around calling us a child.
But Napper, your profile picture is a cartoon character.
You know, there's a big difference between being inspired by a big muscly figure like Nappa and filling your bedroom with girly dolls. Anyway, Underdog, about the cameos, you're wrong here. It's not that the players who complain can't handle the cameos. We don't like the cameos because they're cheap add-ins of classic characters, where we would have preferred them to be fully fleshed out, fully playable characters that can work on their own, and work as a team. No one ever complained about tag team mode. So what's your point here? Cameos are a cheap gimmick of including classic characters, but not adding them as a full roster character. The way we see it is that NetherRealm didn't bother making the complete character. They just threw him in there in this lazy way. Or they ran out of time and they just quickly had to get these characters out. When has anyone complained about tag team mode? Not a single person. The point that you're putting forward here is misleading, Underdog. And I've seen your point about the touch of death combos in MK9. The reason people bring up MK9 is because the tag team mode is between two fully playable characters, and it was fun. If people find touch of death combos, then you have to find a way of not allowing them to set up a touch of death combo. Some of these touch of death combos rely on the player 2 standing still or being in the corner. I'll talk more about the combos when I get to the combo section. The cameo thing is cheap. A cheap add-on. They give fully playable positions to guest characters and leave out the MK characters on the side to be cameo add-ons. It should be the other way around. The game should be mainly Mortal Kombat, and the guest characters should be the ones sitting on the side as a cheap gimmick. Your point in this part of the video doesn't stand. He takes a dig at NetherRealm Studios for unbalanced gameplay, which, when he does stuff like this, it makes me think that he's not a shill. He's just a fan of the Mortal Kombat games that I hate. He just overlooks all the parts that I hate about the modern MK series, which I don't understand how you can do as a Mortal Kombat fan. Although people say he says one thing and then later on he says another thing contradicting himself. I don't watch him, so you'll have to give me examples about this. So the next point he brings up is combo haters, and he shows footage of old MK games like the real MK1 and UMK3. The thing is that most people don't know these touch of death combos. They just play with their favorite character and play as best as they can. The ones who do know the touch of death combos, they got no problem going up against others who know touch of death combos. Have you seen the Russian community? They're big into Ultimate MK3. They know every character inside out, and they do what they can to set up touch of death combos. I've never heard them ever complain that the other guy is just doing a long combo on them. So going by this, the combos themselves in MK12 aren't really the problem. The only reason I can think of for myself is that the combos in MK12 feel tedious to see. They're slow-paced. For example, when I see that Omni-Man combo or the Scorpion combo, I get fed up of having to see their fantastical animations over and over again. That animation of Omni-Man taking you to the sky, then crashing you down on the ground, then throwing you in the air, and throwing punches some left, and throwing some punches right. Imagine I repeat that like 10 times. It gets boring to see over and over and over, because anyone and everyone is able to do it without any difficulty. So it's actually annoying. I hate that thing as well that everyone does with Serena, where they land a couple of hits, and then they'll do that Serena move where she throws 2 daggers, hit, hit, and then it comes back, hit, hit again. Then they repeat this to extend the combo. It's boring. Everyone does this, so it's crap to watch. And if you get stuck in one of them, it's like, ah, man. Other than this, I don't see a problem with the long combos. They just need to be faster paced, so they can be over and done with more quickly. There's players like Sikander who show that there's a lot of creativity with the way you can do combos. And this, I have to say, is not too bad in MK12. I might hate MK12, but I have to admit that the combo creativity in this game is there. And it's fun to explore. I like watching Sikander do creative Sub-Zero combos. Underdog makes a point to say that the combo haters say that Mortal Kombat 1 is bad because the combos are too long or the combos do too much damage. If this is actually what they say, then I agree with Underdog, because this is a stupid reason to hate Mortal Kombat 12. This is the logic with long combos. If you get hit, it means you failed to defend against it, in which case you get punished with a long combo, and the attacker is being rewarded for bypassing your defense and getting the opportunity to perform his combo. Once the stage is reset, it's up to your own reactions to make sure that you don't get hit or opened up again. And it's up to you to try and hit your opponent and open them up so that you can perform your combo. This is the definition of a fighting game, and I don't see a problem with this. Apparently there's a problem with poking too much in this game, but I don't know about all that. I just play whenever Cryptic wants to make a video. Whenever Cryptic beats me, it's because I keep failing to follow his pattern and defend adequately against it. I accept my fault here. I've got no reason to blame NRS here. Okay, story haters. Underdog starts off by saying that these people pretend that a bad story mode immediately makes the entire game garbage. And you know what that means? They're not fighting game players. I have contention with this. In this game, the story is absolute horrendous garbage. I don't need to go into detail with it here because I have whole playlists where I'm going through the story in detail and showing you how terrible it is. The problem with the NRS game is that people who infect the Mortal Kombat stories with their shameful weakness, their infection spreads to every other aspect of the game. You can't get away from the story in gameplay because at the beginning of the match, you're forced to watch the character dialogues. I was playing some old Midway MK games where you start to fight, and the first thing you hear is, "Round 1, fight." And that's it. You just play the fighting game. It's so refreshing. There's no story in the back of your mind. You're just playing a fighting game and trying to win while enjoying the background stage, the music, the fight sounds, the game mechanics. All of it works together to deliver you an amazing experience. In this game, MK12, you start a match with Raiden and someone else, for example, and you have to hear the character say some story-driven nonsense, or give a pathetic attempt at intimidating the opponent with some weak dialogue, and then they stare at each other while the game loads. You can't get away from it, because even if you just skip them every time, guess what? You're playing with the story mode Raiden, who reminds you of the story mode because you're listening to his weak, high-pitched grunts over and over again. You're wondering what the hell happened to this Raiden? Where's that Raiden who fights and behaves like Raiden? Where's the Raiden that we know? And then at the end of the round you have to listen to him saying some more gentle dialogue, trying to be cool, instead of saying something like,
"It is not wise to strike a god."
It is not wise to strike a god. And finally, at the end of the round, you have to watch his outro with another high-pitched squeal. And before you say you don't have to pick Raiden, I don't like any of them. I can just about pick Sub-Zero and be okay with Sub-Zero. So I'm forced to play with this Raiden I don't like, in a stage which looks artistically good, but it has no Mortal Kombat spirit about it. Not a single stage in MK12 has any sense of Mortal Kombat about it, and with crappy music that has no soul. It's not memorable. All the music in MK12 is just noise made by instruments, and the noise is going on in the background. The music or noise doesn't evoke any hearty emotion. The characters are so generic looking. They don't evoke any inspiration. The stages are soulless. They don't evoke any memorability about them. If you say the Living Forest, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The Living Forest, the ones with the faces on it from MK4, MK2, Shaolin monks. This kind of Living Forest. Not this gentle Liu Kang garbage. I have to even mention that MK12 is the first NRS game where the music has caught my attention. For example, in Cage's Mansion, I actually think the music is alright in there. But it's like one nice thing, one nice seashell found in a sea of scum. These are all infections from the story direction. If you're just here for fighting gameplay, then you wouldn't mind if the game was just colored stickmen figures. But the colored stickmen figures are moving with the exact same fighting engine in MK12. So you have a blue stickman, its name is Sub-Zero, and you just boot up the game, choose the blue stickman, and press buttons to activate your fighting moves, and carry on like that. You get your fighting game without the story, without any artful soul. You'll be fine with that because that's all you're buying a fighting game for, right? The fighting game aspect and mechanics. Doesn't sound good, does it? So get out of here with that excuse. That excuse doesn't work. Mortal Kombat is a unique fighting game, unlike any other, where it has stories of warriors, monsters, demons, powerful beings like Raiden, Shinnok, Fujin, sorcery, ninjas, and tough fighting women. They fight in a hard-hitting bloody battle to the death, with badass music, bludgeoning weapons, immersive scenery, and the immersive scenery sometimes kills you, or is used to kill you, or you smash your opponent into another part of the stage with a nice cutscene. They're pretending in this game that the stages are alive and all that. What was that quote?
And that's one of the things that I've always liked about the stages too, is that they have a life. They're a character almost.
Hopefully, if we did our job, yeah.
Right.
Hopefully.
There's things happening in the background. Like, what are they doing? Are they
Exactly,
they're buying food? What's going on? They're having fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
They have a life. Are you joking? Do you even know where we came from? What life are you talking about? The stages aren't even interactable in the least way. They're just like paintings with animations in the background. Usually the animations are just people in the background doing basic movements. You even got this one where someone's giving another person a piggyback ride. Oh, so funny. This is your gritty, badass Mortal Kombat right here, everyone. Right here. These people who don't even know how to make a proper Mortal Kombat game shouldn't be inserting humor into the game, because when the game isn't made right, the added humor actually makes it more detestable. Character rivalries are set up in story. See, the character rivalries, they're set up in the story to add to the sense of fighting. MK is not like Tekken, it's not like Street Fighter or Soul Calibur. Mortal Kombat stands apart from these with its deeply rich world building and lore, with characters driven by strong motivation and are at their best, strongest form in the game, so that you, the player, can take control of these characters and experience their unique spirit. So you play with Sub-Zero, where you're not just playing a stick figure that can stop opponents in their tracks with a blue, cold-looking animation, so you can have a chance to kick them and win the game. No, you're playing as the Grand Master of the Lin Kuei, who's mastered cryomancy and it's augmented by his Grandmaster Medallion. His mission is to rebuild the Lin Kuei as a force for good, while fending off assassination attempts from the old Lin Kuei clan members. And he's struggling a rivalry with a ninja Hell Spectre, who's out for your blood because he believes you killed his family. How freaking epic does that sound? You're playing with Liu Kang. You're not just using a Chinese guy that shoots a fire-looking animation from his hands and does kick animations where he flies his leg at you, and you're just using these mechanical movements to win a game, as if you're playing chess with your tic-tac-toe. No, you are Liu Kang, the Chosen One, Earthrealm's greatest hope in the struggle for freedom, the champion of Mortal Kombat, whose tremendous skill overwhelms all who challenge him in the tournament of the Elder Dogs. You are the defender of Earthrealm. You are the mighty dragon. You're the formidable force that stands as a fortress, protecting Earthrealm from otherworldly dangers. How powerful does that sound? Does that not make you want to choose Liu Kang now? In MK12, we've got more focus on family dramas, relationships, love, togetherness, friendship, romance. In a Mortal Kombat game where you test your might and fight to the death, you're telling me to ignore all this shit and play the game. Don't have it in the first place? I don't need to be a fighting game player to be a Mortal Kombat player. I only bought Tekken 8 because I was so dissatisfied with MK12. I don't play other fighting games, and I don't need to play other fighting games to play MK. What kind of stupid comparison is this? Only a person who isn't a fan of Mortal Kombat specifically would say such a thing. In the very first Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, there was a story in the background of the main purpose of the fighting game. So you had your fighting game, and you could ignore the story and jump in and start playing. And if you cared, you could read into the story more. Well, that's what I'd do. I'd just jump in and start playing, and normally Liu Kang is my favorite character. I've learned Liu Kang's combos, Sub-Zero's combos. I play Mortal Kombat, and I'm attentive to character weaknesses, which I try to exploit. This sounds like fighting game playing to me. Well, if that's not fighting game playing, what is it? With the stories, I would think that the stories influence the character designs. When I bought Mortal Kombat games, 50% was for the story continuation, and 50% was for the fighting. Mortal Kombat stories were marketed as well as the fighting. I never played in the arcade places, but the old heads say that when you pass by MK arcade machines, you see a character's profile and you start reading it, and that gets you interested in it to give it a go. And also the sounds of the hits would attract players too. Every Mortal Kombat fan who loves the story and played Liu Kang as their main, we all felt the shock of when Liu Kang was killed in Deadly Alliance. I myself was upset because of not getting to play Liu Kang in the game. I used Kung Lao as a replacement for Liu Kang. My attachment to Liu Kang was because of his story as the champion and his gameplay too. I remember when we were waiting for Deception to come out, I was longing to play as Liu Kang so badly, and I would look in the character list on the website, and I didn't see Liu Kang anywhere, and it made me feel some despair. But later somehow I found out that Liu Kang could be unlocked in the Conquest. So I became elated, and I immediately set off with Shujinko to find Liu Kang. And I did. I was so excited, until I saw that Liu Kang was in a zombie form. I don't like the zombie form, but thankfully you could get his alternate costume, which is normal good old champion of Mortal Kombat Liu Kang. Mortal Kombat's story is important for a lot of us. The story might not affect the mechanics of the gameplay, and it might not affect the efficiency of playstyles, but it does set the tone for everything else. The way the characters are portrayed, the ambience of the fight, the arena, the music even. So take out that garbage excuse. Underdog goes on to say that there are people who hate MK12 story mode, and they defend MK11 story mode, and that's how you know that their opinion is terrible. I'm with Underdog on this part. If you're falling back on MK11 story, you're clearly not a fan of Mortal Kombat. MK11's story is the wrong one to fall back on. But then he ruins it and goes and says, MK12's story is better than MK11's. Man, I have no comment. This is an even worse opinion than the people you're making fun of. He goes on to talk about people who complain about no content in the game. I've already addressed that, but I'll add a bit more to it. People who complain about MK12's no content refer to MK9's challenge tower. Personally myself, I didn't think that the challenge tower in MK9 was fun. It was just a tedious grind to get to the top of it. This isn't content. It's just some rubbish added in the game to throw another spin on it, to get you to have something to do. I don't know what's wrong with people. They always want something to do. They just want to be given a task to do so they can do it. Like monkeys in a zoo. You just put an apparatus in the zoo compound for the monkeys to play on. The monkeys will be happy. And it feels like NetherRealm are treating us like monkeys. And most of the monkeys are just happy. They're like, yeah, content, woohoo. And they go and jump around on the content. The reason I grinded to get to the top of the challenge tower was because Ed Boon said that there's a massive reward at the top of the tower. So I got excited thinking that it might be something like we can unlock Shao Kahn as a playable character or something. But guess what it was? It was the naked Melina costume where the pointy ends of her chest were barely covered up with a bandage. I was really pissed off when that was all that it was. What am I supposed to do with a naked Melina costume? Just look at it. I never liked this pervertedness that Midway team used to be into. In my opinion, they used to expose the girls way too much, making them all almost naked. And now they've gone completely 180 and made them uninspiring and ugly. You're supposed to keep it in the middle. A woman can be beautiful and keep all her clothes on too. Give the women their charming, beautiful form and cover them with reasonable modesty and design their faces with a charming and attractive beauty. Somebody shared these concept arts with me in MK12, like this is what the concept arts for the characters were in MK12. Look at Li Mei. Is she not pretty? She looks so nice. This is the Li Mei I want to have in the game. And if I ran into this Li Mei in the game, I'd be like, wow man, Li Mei's nice. What went wrong that they went from these concept arts to this crap that we got today? Li Mei looks like a single mom that's on her 5th divorce. She looks like an angry lady who's struggling to make ends meet while dealing with like 12 kids. These NetherRealm / Midway dickheads. And now I understand the term dickhead. It must mean a person who thinks with their dick. They did a full 180 and chopped their own balls off. Can't you people just be men who control yourselves and appreciate a woman's beauty without trying to expose her for your own perverted animalistic pleasure? This is the difference between a boy and a man. A boy doesn't have control over his animal instincts and desires. And a man understands that he has these desires, but manages it in a sensible way to lead a good life. A madman, on the other hand, goes and chops his own balls off and makes all the women ugly on purpose. But this is another video topic for another time. Well, anyway, Underdog compares MK9's challenge tower to Invasions mode and the Towers of Time. Let me tell you something. This is like sitting under a donkey's ass and waiting for it to drop its shit into your hands, and then going to the bull's ass and waiting for it to drop its shit into your hands, and then comparing both of them. Oh, this piece of shit from the bull is a lot bigger, and you can do more with it, compared to this piece of shit from the donkey, which is not as exciting as the one from the bull. All of this rubbish doesn't even stand next to MK Deception's Conquest mode. He also mentions the Krypt modes from the NRS games, saying that the content unlocked in them was garbage anyway. I personally don't like the Krypts in MK9, X, and 11. I thought they were an unnecessary game mode with animations that make you sit and wait and watch. MK11's Krypt was somewhat interesting. I actually did try it and found myself wandering around and finding things and wondering what they were. But the things unlocked in there, it felt like you're playing a free-to-play mobile game. Why do these game designers think they can get away with making mobile-style games instead of actual console games? It's like they don't understand what fun is. Or they have no shame. Like they got told to go make a minigame, to turn Krypt into a minigame. So their understanding of minigame was, let's go on the Google Play Store and find all the mobile games and see what they're doing, and just copy them. Instead of coming up with fun ways to make a game, they just repeat the formulas to give you monkeys something to do, and you monkeys get happy with it. Now, Underdog says something here which I agree with. MK11 players think that content is unlocking costumes and gear pieces and all that stuff to dress up your characters with. I agree with Underdog in this case. This mode is stupid. What kind of people want to sit around and customize their Mortal Kombat character with dress-up options? Mortal Kombat characters are supposed to have a set costume designed by the developers, a main costume and an alternate costume. Just pick one and get on with the fight. Why are we making Sub-Zero purple or red? Sub-Zero's supposed to be blue, and blue only. There should not be an option for a purple Sub-Zero, a red Sub-Zero, a pink Sub-Zero, a yellow Sub-Zero! Too much money is wasted by NetherRealm Studios focusing on the wrong things in Mortal Kombat games. And last point from Underdog, which I actually agree with. It's becoming a trend to hate on your fighting game. Tekken 8 fans are hating on their game, which I don't understand at all because it's such a fun game. And all the characters are looking good. All the characters are looking good. They hit really hard. They have combos. You can dodge combos and do your thing. What's the problem? But I guess I'm an outsider. And maybe I don't understand their Tekken world like they don't understand my Mortal Kombat world. I'm not one of these trend-chasing people. I don't need to explain myself, but I'll give a brief explanation. My reason for making videos on my channel is that I'm a true Mortal Kombat fan, and when I watched the MK12 story mode on YouTube, when it first released, I sat on my sofa, I had my snacks ready, and I told my wife that I'm not contactable until this is over. I can't be contacted until this is done. I was silent the whole way through. And when I was done, I was so angry. So angry. It's characteristic of me to go berserk and break furniture. I've busted so much of my furniture in a berserker rage. I even broke my car window out of anger. But this one, I was so angry that I remained silent. And I went to bed silent. And I was actually physically hurting in the heart after watching this story. Such a garbage story mode made by soulless garbage people. This time I didn't break anything. I just kept it inside and I was visibly distraught and miserable. Instead of going on a berserker rampage and bringing down mine and my neighbor's house with it, I chose instead to make videos. And this is a positive outlet for me and my madness. I don't think I break as many things as I used. Okay, yeah, I do, but still, at least I put my berserk rage into words and put it out for people to see. And surprisingly, people like it. So I'm just here being myself. I'm not interested in any trends. I'm only interested in Mortal Kombat. It's been my whole life up to the NRS era. That's it, really. I attempted to be respectful and attack the arguments only. Sort of. I don't hate TrueUnderDawg. I hate NetherRealm Studios. I hate the game they've made for my reasons as a big-time MK fan. I hate the culture that they cultivated. I hate the community of freaks that they nurtured.